Oh, hi there. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, a good thing this week. Hopefully, that's going to help me stay on track a little bit. I only, unfortunately, just started doing it this morning, but hopefully, I'll clue in for next week's live stream. And it's partially A, to keep me on track, and B, it was also when I was watching, I guess last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess, one of Eric's Table's live streams. And they were using the slideshow presentation. And I was like, gosh, I mean, it looked really good. And I was like, maybe, and then I've also noticed that there's a slide presentation thing you can do via StreamYard. And I was like, okay, let's give this a shot. So I just did it very quickly. It's just going to be pictures. Good morning, William Arends. William Arends says, hello from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. Great to see you, William. Hopefully you're doing well. I don't know if you're having the same issues we are. I didn't clue in until a couple of days ago. Good morning, Meandering Mike. Meandering Mike says, greetings. I don't know if you're having the same issues we are, William Arends, where you are, but yesterday, the wildfire smoke kicked back in, unfortunately, and yeah, yesterday, even today, I'm a bit of congestion again and whatnot. So I don't know if I'm sensitive to. Also, I know they're saying you shouldn't keep the windows open, which I did overnight. So that wasn't, I guess, such a smart move. Anyways, like I was saying, then I'm hoping that the using a slideshow presentation or whatever for the pictures and whatnot will also keep me on track and remind me to mention things. For example, it's been 2 weeks in a row now. I keep wanting to show the Atlas map, and I've got it listed down in my thing, and I keep forgetting to do it. So hopefully that the slideshow thing will help. So start off right off the bat, obviously, with the History Heroes trivia. Who or what am I? This week's going to be, the problem is it's the answer. It's not that I think the clues are really difficult. I mean, are super easy or whatever. It's just, well, you're going to see. I'll pop them up now. Hold on. I'll pop a banner one. So please let me know how you guys are doing and whatnot. I'm trying to, yeah, I'll have to put this one, and I'll be honest with you. I think you guys are going to get it rather quickly, and that's just the way it goes, I guess, you know. But here's the first one. So we ran messages, laid telegraph wires, detected mines, guarded, and patrolled. And I'll pop that in the comments as well. And then we'll go off to, once I start that, I wanted to start off with from BGG. Yeah, I'll put it on here. And I guess maybe for some of you, I mean, I subscribe to certain message threads on Board Game Geek BGG. And so, for example, if someone, you know, posts something about Der Weltkrieg, and hopefully I'll get notified. And that's exactly what happened this week. So I'm going to go and share it right off the bat. Because William Harris says, we only had the smoke here for a couple of days last. Maybe you'll get here again as the wind blows. Yeah, I hope you don't get it. It doesn't seem as bad as last week or whatever. But still, I'm like, oh, geez. And I don't know about you, but I'm like, I find it highly inappropriate. I'm not going to do it. Like, for example, yesterday, I was like, oh, boy, I wouldn't mind starting up the charcoal grill. I'm like, that's, you know, that's just poor taste. I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, someone, and this is the weird thing. I almost feel like, you know, a wish was granted kind of thing, game-wise, game-related wise, is that three wonderful things happened. One, someone posted a playthrough of their Der Weltkrieg on BGG, so I can read it, and other people can do that too. Secondly, they were doing a comparison. While they did this, they did the Serbia Defiant playthrough. Here, I'll pop it up. Hold on here. Yeah. Oh, I just have to go straight up to share. Hold on here. It's this guy here. So we're going to go to it, and then I'm going to go to the, oh, darn it. Was it there? No, it's not there. Hold on. I've got to go to my forum thing. This guy. So this person, hopefully you can see it. I'm just going to take a quickie look to see if you guys can. Yep, you can, and I'm not in the thing. That's good. So this person, James Lowry, and this is the third thing I was mentioning, which I think is just a bonus, is that we talked about this a few weeks ago, or even over a month ago, when Charles Latora had picked up, I think this is how you pronounce it properly, Serbine, Moose Serbine. I may be wrong about that, the GMT game. And then I was thinking afterwards, I was like, oh boy, wouldn't that be neat if we could compare that game? And I was also mentioning, I think earlier on with, I was talking about with last week with Meandering Mike's having, was it the Drina, something about the Drina? I can't remember the little bit of before the Drina, March on the Drina. And then, in other words, we have a lot of Serbia games that we could compare. And one of the things I did want to talk about, like I was mentioning, boy, wouldn't it be neat to compare that game with the GMT, this one here? And lo and behold, this person is saying after trying out Serbine, Moose Serbine with his friend Mark, they decided to play the Serbia game. And then I'm not sure if they did really much of a comparison. But anyways, this playthrough and a bit of the review is really, really good. It's in the sources links thing on the live stream, so you can please go and take a look at the person's playthrough. And later on, hopefully, I'm not going to get into it, but it was also yet again one of the comments Meandering Mike was put in one of my things earlier in the week when we were talking about different playthroughs, and Meandering Mike was mentioning that. You put 10 different gamers in a room, they'll play a game 10 different ways. And I was like, well, so I was reading this playthrough. I was like, my goodness, yeah, these guys have a completely different way. But I also want to show you the person's link. So hold on, I'll get to it. So you can see their actual blog thing, and give them a shout out and whatnot, and go take a look and see what they're up to. Here, I'll put it in. Hopefully this will do it. Does it show? I hope so. Good. Yep. Goody. So there. This is this person's James Lowry's website. So hopefully you guys can take a look. Like I said, it's in the sources and links thing, description thing. But I wanted to pop this in to let the person get some credit for that type of stuff. Hold on here. I'm going to go back to the comments. Nothing going on here. I'll pop in the next. I'll put in the next of us, the next clue. And it's, here we go. One of us made a sergeant after spotting and attacking a German spy. And I'll put that in the comments as well. All right. And then we're going to go off to the slideshow, I think. I'll take a look at what I've listed as my little whatever. Put that in here. On a side note, I will say this also. I was watching last night, and then I watched a little bit more this morning of here. Here, I'll put it back to me if you just want to take a look at me for a little bit or whatever. Was that I was watching Justagard's playthrough of the Relief of Kut, and it was just neat. I just find, a couple of things is one. Boy, do I ever have to pay attention to certain things. Anyways, I was paying attention to his playthrough. And at one point I was like, wait a minute, did he just move a unit from one enemy zone of control to another enemy zone of control across a major river? And my brain was like, what the heck? This doesn't make sense, because I was thinking to myself, and it's true, I was like, okay, who do you trust in interpreting Der Weltkrieg rules better? Yourself, Chris, or Justagard? And I'll tell you one thing, 10 times out of 10, I'm going to pick Justagard. And so I went and contacted somebody else, and they let me off to the right spot, which is about pontoon bridges, and that the British player in that scenario, and I guess maybe other ones in the Osmanli Harbi module, that they can use pontoon bridges to get across a major river. And as long as there's obviously not, an enemy troop on the other side of it, but they can cross across the major river, and it's viewed as clear terrain. So I thought, oh, that was kind of interesting to find out. Darn it. Hold on. I got to go get my reading glasses. That's what I'm forgetting. Yeah, and I turned off the light behind me, even though I kind of did want it on. I was finding it was getting a lot of glare and stuff, so I didn't think that was such a great idea. So people still haven't figured it out, eh? You still haven't got the no clues yet, eh? Okay, I'm going to give you another one. It's hard because, like I said, it's just basically at the point now. It's like I gotta give them out. That's the way it goes. So we carried wounded soldiers under heavy fire from World War I's battlefields, and I'll pop that in the comments as well. Yeah. And I think if I remember correctly, I haven't looked. I forgot the points, but I think Meandering Mike's back in it, because there seems to be a tit for tat between William Arends and Meandering Mike for top spot. That's for sure. Yeah, I think so. I think that's where I'm gonna. Did I put on my side thing here? Yeah, let's go to the slideshow. That should help me. Out. So I did that. Oh no, I want to go to this one. I thought this would be of kind of an interesting idea. I don't know if you guys think it is. There's a bazillion World War I games out there that have been published, and most of them I don't have a clue about. So I thought, okay, how am I going to find out about these things? Little bits. And there's obviously going to be some William Harris's combat engineers. Well, you're going to get 1 point, but you're wrong. But well done. I'm glad that you guessed, and I'm glad that you got it wrong in a weird way, because I'm shocked that somebody hasn't clued in. But maybe it's because I automatically already know the answer, so maybe that's the problem. Meandering Mike says ambulance orderlies. You get 1 point for guessing, but you're wrong. So there we go. Here's the next one. And so we were used to transport ammunition and supplies to the front. No, I didn't say that one yet, and I'll pop that in too. There we go. Oh my gosh, it'll be interesting to see when you guys finally go, oh, okay, it's that. Anyway, so I thought this would be a kind of an interesting. So I went into BGG, went into the advanced search, and then Charles Latora gets 1 point for guessing and says, but you got it wrong. He said, Charles Latora says Anzac troops. Speaking of which, we will talk about Anzac troops extremely quickly. And then I'll go back to my thingamajig. I was watching a lecture on the Somme this morning, and from the Western Front Association, and I think it was called "What People Get Wrong About the Somme." And one of the interesting tidbits, which I thought was interesting, is that they said basically the same amount of Anzac troops died at the Battle of the Somme over 120 days or whatever it was, as they did in Gallipoli. So I thought that was rather interesting. So what I decided to do is go into BGG with the advanced search and just said, hey, can you give me a list of all the World War I games, please? And it gave me 13 pages of about, I guess, 100 entries each. So all I do now is each week, I'm just going to randomly roll. So I'm going to roll, 1 to 13 kind of thing. Find out what page to go, and then I'm going to roll percentile dice, and then we go from there. So this week's is, and like I said, I don't have a clue, and it was ironic when I saw it. I went, "Oh my God, where's Iggy Krickdahl when you need him?" Because he's like Mr. ASL for me, and it's an ASL game. So hold on, I'll pop it in the thing, and we'll go to there. And we'll just and I have the way I'm doing it is I'm not looking. I'm just grabbing the thing, and off I go. So I don't have a flipping clue about this game. I don't know anything about it or whatever. And you guys may know way more than I do. So I'm gonna, hopefully you guys can. I'll pop this on in a minute. Hold on. There. Charles Latora says, wild guess. Dogs. Charles Latora, I'm going to give you it. because it's animals. That's what it is. I mean, we're not going to get so well done, Charles Latora. I'll give you. It's also partially. I'm going to be honest. It's because you need the points too. Mind you, you're so far behind first and second place. I don't know if you can, unless Meandering Mike and William Arends decide to not participate anymore. So I'll show you that in a minute, but I wanted to go to here. Meandering Mike says, "Oh, I don't know if it's O for the animals," and I'll give you the rest of the things, the banners. So this one says, "We were even collected in jars by the thousands to light the trenches," and I'll put it in the comments as well. Sorry. But anyways, if you guys know anything about ASL and World War I, please let me know. I don't have a flipping clue. And like I said, I will just quickly take a look and then go off to other stuff. But I thought, maybe this would be an interesting way for me to find out about other games that are in World War I that I don't have a flipping, like I said, I don't have a flipping clue about. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton that you guys do know about that you can help me out with. Meandering Mike says, "I was going to guess taxi drivers next. That doesn't work for jars." Mind you, maybe their tip jar or something or whatever they have. Charles Latora says, "Was going to say animals, but thought you needed a more specific animal." Well done, Charles Latora. Well, then you got it 100%. So, and I'll pop the rest in here. I'm not like it's like I said, it's weird because I know the answer ahead of time. So it's like I don't know if oops, I was supposed to show this one. So there we go. Our war memorial in London has an inscription saying they had no choice. So I'll put that in the comments as well. And then we'll go take a look at the card in a minute. And then we'll go to the slideshow. And hopefully by next week, like I said, if I do a little bit more fancy bits with the slideshow, it's going to work. I did a practice run. Like I made the slideshow this morning, popped it in on StreamYard and was like, wow, it actually is a lot quicker than me going back and forth, grabbing links, copying, pasting, that type of stuff. And then the last one is, hold on, banners. And then the last one is this one. Millions of us worked tirelessly, and died to support our human friends. I didn't check the spelling here, which I seem to do often. So there we go. I'll pop that in and then I'll get rid of the banners. So, and then we'll go to the card in a minute once we finish this ASL thing. And I'll go to banners so I can remove it. There we go. So we're back to normal. And then we'll go to here. Oh, I can actually get rid of the blank. So yeah, I don't know anything. If you guys know anything about this, please let me know. I don't know how. I don't have a clue about ASL. I didn't even know they did World War I stuff. But just says tiny Belgium is not well prepared for what would come to be known as the Great War, adherence to strict neutrality, and et cetera, et cetera. Those are the scenarios. Interesting. A ton of stuff I don't have a clue about. On a side note, I was watching, I think I'll put it in one of the community tabs. I'll take a look at some of the images. Was that it? Oh, well, I guess that'll be a quickie. Hold on, I'm going to stop sharing, then we'll go back to, I can get rid of this. Get back to here. And we're in the comments, goody. I was going to say, was it about ASL? Oh, no, it was about anyways, I was watching a person who did the Belgian front walk. He's from England. I think I put him in one of my community things, tab posts. And I didn't realize, it was neat. I was talking to Peter at work, who's from Belgium, and mentioning that there's, I guess they have these, I don't know what they're called, concrete pillars or something, little tiny posts throughout Belgium, where it actually marks off where the front, the Belgian front actually was. And it's like, wow, it was, that was really neat. And he just went through the whole thing going, okay, this is exactly where the Germans were, so on and so forth. Or you could see this spot, this place where they pretended to make it look like it was all ruined, and yet it wasn't. Meandering makes says some BGG entries are not very well fleshed out. Yes, and and here's the interesting thing is you can see that my research was not very well fleshed out. Like I said, I just hey, grab the link and off I go. So it's going to be a bit of a hit and miss, I think, for a few things. Okay, actually, before we actually do go to the slideshow, I will go to one place which I thought you guys may be interested in taking a look at, and that's the World War I Museum and Memorial has an online exhibit called Lands of Battle. And here, I'll put it in so you guys can take a look. And we're just going to go quickly. Like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But and yet again, it's in the sources and links. So you guys can go and go take a look at your leisure. So there you go. And it looks really, really impressive, especially with this. There you can see there's a 3 minute and 44 minute, a 3 minute and 44 second blurb by the photographer talking about this and so on and so forth. And it just continues quite a bit. Oh, and there's Vache, France, that we keep hearing about right now. That's been going on in the Western Front with between the French and the British, Germans. The back and forth, because I think the second battle of Artois just finished up. But anyways, I thought maybe you guys would be interested. Like I said, it's in the sources and the links. There's another thing I know Meandering Mike was mentioning. He loves seeing aerial photos of the trenches. It is just it's just such a strange thing. It's like beautiful and not beautiful at the same time. It's on a side note, I just started watching, it was on free, The Trench with Daniel Craig. Seems relatively old. Not as old as I've seen him in something. He was actually in one of Sharp's Rifles episodes. And I was like, oh my gosh, is he ever young in there? But I just started watching it, and it's I think that's also based around the Battle of the Somme, if I'm not mistaken. And it's about, I guess, his division or whatever, or his chunk of the division that are left near the front line while the rest prepare for whatever, for the attack after the bombardment or something. So anyways, I thought maybe you guys would want to take a look at that. And then we'll go to the, I can get rid of this. No, I don't want to get rid of it. I want to put it to maybe if we actually do get to the live stream, which would be amazing. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here, now I'm going to try the live stream, and hopefully this will help me stay on track. Present. Slide. Live stream. And then I put on add to stream and full on. All right. And we're going to start with this. Let's start with this guy. Hopefully you guys remember this guy. We talked about him last week. Sub-lieutenant. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to check again. Reginald Warneford. He was, as far as I know, the first Brit to shoot down a Zeppelin. I'm not sure if he was the first person to ever shoot down a Zeppelin. Oh my gosh! And we didn't do the. We'll go take a look later at the animals card, so you guys can get the full on. Anyways, remember, and he got like a personalized thing from King George and so on and so forth. Well, guess what? He died today. Back in 1915. So he died today. So even though we were talking about him last week, celebrating. Charles Latora says being on track isn't as much fun as getting off subject. Oh, don't worry about it, Charles Latora. You know me, and I know you. So odds are it's going to happen. But I certainly am really happy about having this flipping thing. I want to see if it goes a little bit nicer, as in you guys. Also, you got to remember, Charles Latora, that even though I know that, obviously the show is not about me or whatever and that type of stuff, I want to make sure that you guys are entertained, and try to so I want, and I know me, and I know like other people, we like seeing different things like pictures and sounds and so on and so forth and whatever. So I thought, hopefully this will help out. But anyways, it just blows me away that so last week here we are talking about him shooting down the very first Zeppelin for a Brit, and today he dies in his plane crashes and he dies. That's it. And we'll go to the next one. So this guy, well, as you know, Eric Ludendorff, and the reason why I popped him in, like I said, it's just because of stuff that I find out about during the week, and I'd like to, we'll see if that helps. Yeah, I'm just a rinky-dink little dude. And please let me know if the pictures or whatever are too small. I don't know what you guys can actually see because I'm, doing it from my whatever here. So the reason why I've got Eric Ludendorff up here is because when I was watching, listening to when we'll get to him in a minute, Professor Dennis, darn it, what's his last name? I got it 4,000 times here. Dennis Showalter, who unfortunately died in 2019. I just found out last night. Anyways, he mentioned that Eric Ludendorff is the person that was first coined the phrase total war, which I thought, okay, thanks for letting me know. I had no idea. It was also another interesting thing earlier last week was when I was watching another and listening to another lecture about the transition from, I guess, into total war. And I was also talking about to one of my colleagues at work about like when did things like shift away from chivalry and whatnot. And also I was talking also with another YouTuber about that, like before like feudalism or like was that when people were getting a bit like, oh, you don't do this on the battlefield or you don't do that, because before that it seemed like rape and pillage and just burn the villages down and so on and so forth. Then it transitioned for a while, and then it shifted back. It seems to, like when we're getting into gas warfare or bombing civilians or doing this, that, or the other thing, and the shift to where everybody's being affected. I just thought that was quite interesting. Okay, I'll get to the next slide and see if this helps me out. The only reason why I've got General Paul Letov von Letov-Vorbeck is because, which is ironic, here I am saying, butchering his name, is because it was I always used to just say Letov-Vorbeck, and I think it's Letov-Vorbeck. That's the only reason why I've got him up there, is just to remind me that I was not pronouncing little bits of his last name. That was really about it. Here is a picture of a Nissen hut, I guess, and since they were, and I'll pop up the website in a minute for Nissen huts. And the reason why I brought that up is that I didn't know what a Nissen hut was until this week. Charles Latora says Western Front Ace World War I has started shipping from Compass. Excellent, Charles Latora. I know that you mentioned it earlier in one of your posts this week. So yeah, it'll be nice to take a look at to see what it like looks. And I guess, yeah, they must have obviously been pumping it on their town hall stuff and whatnot. I haven't been on a Compass thing in ages. Anyways, yeah, I had no idea what a Nissen hut was. And earlier in the week when I was reading my Whiz Bangs and Woodbines book, he mentions the Nissen hut. And we'll go to, I'll show you the website later about a little bit more of the Nissen huts. But the thing here in the caption when I was looking at the website for this, and I'll also, the website that I got this from is Postcards, Great War Postcards. And, well, obviously it's about a bunch of postcards from World War I. And the person mentions in this one that since Germans didn't construct Nissen huts, that obviously this one was a captured hut, most likely from a position that they had taken. So I thought that was kind of neat. I'd love to get one. They seem really good. The reason why I've got this picture up here is because repeatedly, especially when talking about the Battle of New Chapelle, the Second Battle of Artois, that type of stuff. And then people always mentioned, that it was the first use of poison gas, the Germans on the over here, and maybe it's. I just want to remind people that actually the first use of gas, and maybe it's not technically poison gas. I don't know if maybe that's what it is, but actually the first recorded use of gas was back in late January at the Battle of Bolimov in Poland, not in the Western Front. So I don't know if lots of times they're just maybe I'll have to look and see if they put that adjective before the word gas, which is poison. But it's the first use of gas. Gas was not on the Western Front, in April or May or whatever. It was it was in the Battle of Bolimov, for goodness sakes. So I just was like, hey man, it would be nice for people to remember that. This one here, oh yeah. So which I find an interesting picture. So that's a picture of Arthur Currie, King George, and some general. I don't know who his name is. A few things I find interesting about this picture. One is I don't know if this is the reason being is, but I find it interesting that most likely out of the three there, the person that's most experienced walking around on the battlefield and so on and so forth is Arthur Currie, who's on the freaking planks, and the other two are on the mud kind of thing. And in an ironic way, I find is he's on the upper, like he's the tallest in a weird way because of that, which I think I just find there's a lot of interesting things for me to look at for that picture. The reason why I've got him up here is because of the magazine, one of the magazines that I have at work, still reading up and just talking about the buildup about Vimy Ridge, the Battle of Vimy Ridge, and all the preparation that they went ahead for that, and that Arthur Currie, the guy in the middle there, in charge of it all, kind of thing, how resistant he was. At that point, the Canadians had 4 divisions, all in one corps. And we were officially part of the British Expeditionary Force. We were not like the Canadian Expeditionary Force, whatever. In other words, we weren't separate, obviously, for a variety of reasons, but we weren't like separate, like when the United States pops over. And, the United States could have a bit more say in saying, no, we're going to keep our troops together. We're not getting chopped up here, left, right, and center. He was very resistant to it, and they also wanted to turn the Canadian Corps into 2 corps. And he said, no. All you're going to do is increase overhead staff and so on and so forth and drain our resources, but you're not actually going to help combat effectiveness. So that so that he kept that, which was nice. Also, there was a lot of training ahead of time, and he also wanted to. Which I thought was interesting about that he had to train a lot of the troops in open warfare. And we're going to get to a next. There's a nice little shot, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm not sure if this is the type of armored car that was used for the machine gun indirect fire at the Battle of Vimy Ridge, but it was something that Arthur Currie really, really encouraged, was the use of machine guns for indirect fire, independently and also in support with artillery bombardments. And supposedly there's a mention of armored cars basically driving up and down the flanks, just shooting, and wherever area, just to, suppress, obviously, the Germans and keep them down in their spots and whatnot. Anyways, I found this interesting. I'm not sure. I know that a lot of it with the Battle of Neuve Chapelle and so on and so forth, but I do remember reading of stuff of it was a lot of it to do with they ran out of shells and whatnot to support, the push. But a lot of it also was when troops went ahead, they were trained for trench warfare by then, and were not trained for open warfare anymore. And So from what I've been reading, is Arthur Curry wanted to get these guys to learn how to, uh, uh, fight in open warfare. So when they got into that spot, they wouldn't like just stop, and then your any gains you made, you weren't able to like secure, or so on and so forth. Anyways, yeah. So I just thought this was an interesting looking armored car. Yeah. This one, oh yes, finally. Actually, we should maybe. It's so tiny. Maybe. Hold on. I'll go to. I'll get the picture ready. But I just wanted to finally show it. This is the Atlas map thingamajig. I should have shown this 2 weeks ago, for goodness sakes. And we'll get to it. Yeah. Maybe I'll have to show you all the maps straight up, because that's rather than the slideshow. We'll go back to the slideshow in a minute or whatever. Okay, hold on here. That's the Africa map. Atlas map 6. All right. And then I'm going to go over here, back to the StreamYard. I'm going to remove it. Oh, that's how I do it. Boink. So we're back to this. Then I'm going to present the. I think I have to make it a window. Yeah, there we go. Hold on. So if I make it a full screen, it's not happy or something. Here. All right. So yeah, and forgive me for showing like the. And please let me know if it's too big, too little, or whatever. Yeah. So I put the green dots as the English whatever, but it was at the time I didn't realize what I was doing later, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to go back and start changing all the colors. But I did want to show you just to try to differentiate, because I mean, remember the maps here are made for black and white, and it, like lines going this way, lines going that way. I was like, whoa, I don't know which way the lines are. So, I'm hoping this will help you out a little bit, just to kind of show you an overall picture of where things were, or who controlled what in Africa at the time. Please let me know if it's too big, too small. I don't know what's going. You guys can see here, but at least that way you can hopefully get a whole idea of what everything that's around there. And like we were saying at the bottom here of the map, that British possessions near Africa of strategic importance. Yet again, just to show spots. But I was like, my goodness, do the British, they've got their fingers everywhere. It's just like, holy smokes. And then we'll go to, and going back to my comments. So you can see that. That's good. And then we'll go back. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to go back to add this to the stream. All right. So there you can see that. And look, please let me know if it's actually, you know what? I think I'm just going to quickly go through the slides. So I'll see what you guys can see, and then all right, we'll go to that one then. So you guys can see that, and I'll get rid of me. So then it'll be just the animals bit. So that way you guys can at least see it. And there we go. So there's all your little tidbits for the animal clue thing. And then I'll go towards the pictures about the Africa map. I didn't yet again. I will show you here. There, we'll go to that. Remove that one. And then I'm going to present the thing. Window. Boink. All right. So yeah, this is just yet again the overall map of Africa, and so we can get towards showing Cameroon and what in the world's going on before that. So there you go, and let's see if it'll let me. Arthur Curry, Atlas map, Bolimov. There we go to the Cameroon book scan. So just to get a bit more, and then I'm going to read up my notes. So I'll get down a bit minus. I only read like the first 2 chapters of the freaking, the first 2 paragraphs of chapter 5, all but Mora. I just got into, got into too many other things, but I will try to help frame how we're going to go about things for the last little bit. So here's another close up, just to give you some context of where the Nigerian border is. And there, remember, there's all that. Oh, right here's where it's been focused, right, just in that spot. But it's going to be fascinating. I'm going to show you in a minute where we are in 1915. Basically the Germans are like, they're basically, I guess there's basically almost just this left. It's really, I find it really interesting. So from what I've been reading here, I'm just going to take a look at the comments to make sure I'm not. Okay, good. All right. So it's, so it said right now that there was 2 major Allied forces. And I'll try to reduce it so you can see the whole thing, not too much. There was 2 major Allied forces left at this juncture in the chapter. There was 1 major force, as we know, over here in Douala. That's where they're headquartered, and they had all of the Northern Railway had taken Victoria over here. Bawea, which used to be the capital, I do believe, for the Germans at the time, before they were, everybody was pushed out. All the Cameroon's mountain region, all the way up to the Nigerian frontier, has been taken. So all this spot up here, there we can see. It's an old black and white, but hopefully that helps you out a little bit. Also, that part of the same major Allied force, there was French troops. They had taken the Midland Railway, which was, let's see if we can go back. Hold on here. So the Midland Railway here, all the way to Adia, and then they left a detachment. I have to find out. We did talk about it a few weeks ago. The Tirailleurs or something. They're pronounced. Originally, they were. Oh, darn it! I'm gonna have to. I think they were originally frontier or frontier troops. Or specified, and then eventually the term is just used for all colonial troops or something for the French. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to look that up again. There's also a second major Allied command under General Americh, and they were some French troops which had invaded Cameroon from the east and the northeast. See, they said they came in from the east and the southeast, and they came up from the Sanga River and then went westward from Zinga up to Labaye or somewhere. Well, I'll have to maybe look at. Is that a biggie? Yeah, probably this one here. So, somewhere around there. Where are we here? The Sanga River. Oh, there's Zinga. Somewhere around up here, but eventually, right now, anyways, all I know is, like in the chapter, it says is all but Mora. But I will show you. Here, I'll get rid of this here. What's next? If I could just get my ass together and finish off this chapter, which would be, I think you guys would be somewhat interested in seeing. So once I get rid of this chapter, it'll be look what's next. You can see that. Oops. And it'll be all about Southern Africa, so that ought to be interesting. So is there anything else left to chit-chat about if we want to? William Arends. No, I'm way off here. Nope. Okay, I thought I screwed up the scrolling on the thing here. Something else left I wanted to I didn't mention about, I did find out that they were saying that at the Battle of Vimy Ridge, although they were all considered Canadians in the Canadian Corps, 60% of those Canadians were actually born in Britain, which I thought was like, wow, just interesting that I guess you would be considered landed immigrant or whatever. Also, that 25% of the pilots in the Royal Flying Corps were Canadian as well. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Also, please let me know if you guys think, Jesus, Murphy, this guy just bangs on about Canada all the time or whatever. I certainly don't want to, go down that road or whatever. Because I know a lot of you guys obviously are American and whatnot, but we are getting towards still a ways away, a couple of years until you guys get into the war proper. Charles Latora says, you get done what you can get done. No stressing, sir. Thanks, man. What else am I gonna say? Oh, on two side notes, maybe we'll take a look at quickly. I did note, and well, I will say this, Meandering Mike, I'm really happy that you do this little thing when you do unboxings and whatnot. Is you have the games coming up in the queue off on the side. I just think it's really neat because I'm like, oh, I can see, obviously I can see what you got cooking, kind of thing. And I was like, what the heck is this 1914 Hell Unleashed thing? I had no idea. So, well, maybe super ultra quick, but I'm not going to take any of. We're just going to quickly look because I had no clue. Then find out. I was like, I know that name, Mike Nagel or something. And I was like, I know that name from somewhere. And then I find out, oh my God, Ancients Deluxe and the Worthington game there. I can't remember the name of that one, but it's based on that and so on and so forth. Era says, have you ever heard of Hearts of Iron 4? Well, no, I haven't. And but welcome, Era. I've not heard of it. Maybe somebody else has. Great to see you, and hope you get to stick around and want to keep commenting. Is it can you any information you can tell me about Hearts of Iron 4? God, no clue what it's about. World War I? No idea. Please let me know. It's a game on Steam. Oh, thank you. No, I don't. Sorry, I'm not too up on what goes on Steam and so on and so forth. But what else do you know about it? Please let me know. If it's a World War I-ish game, I'd certainly like to hear about it. That's for bloody sure. What was it? So anyways, about that, I'm really glad you did that, Meandering Mike, about that thing. Oh, darn it. Something else about somebody posting stuff, and I was really happy that it goes on that bit. But hold on here. I'm going to find out if I can grab the... Did I put it in here? It's World War II. Error says it's World War II, but has mods for World War I and alternate history, like the mod Kaiserstrike, and it takes place in an alternate history where the Germans won World War I. Whoa, that sounds really neat. Thank you. If I'll have to look up. I'll go take a look it up. That'd be I'd like to see what kind of interesting little things come up from there. Okay. Did I have it here? No, I don't have. I thought I had. No, popped it in here. Oh, no, I didn't. I thought I had. I did want it. Oh, actually, wait a minute. All I have to do is go to my freaking BGG site thing. But you know what? We haven't watched one in a dog's age. If you guys don't mind, it's only going to be 20 minutes. So we'll be about maybe 10:15 or so, if that's all right. And if it's not, please let me know. But I wouldn't mind popping on some Calandale, and maybe I'll take a look at some of my notes and see what's going on. And we'll go from there. Is that all right? We'll see. Anyways, I'll pop it on. Hold on here, guys. I've got to share the screen. I've also got to remember. Meandering Mix says, I will probably do the 1914 Hell Unleashed unboxing this weekend. Oh my gosh, thanks. Yeah, and so what do you know about this? Is it said it's based on an old Avalon Hill game? So is that no, I guess, was it the SPI that only did the flat tray bits? I don't know. Charles Latora gives a thumbs up, so we'll pop on the Calandale. Okay, here we go. Share screen. Yep, and I got the share of the audio tab. Hold on, I just got to mute me.
And I flew through the turn of March 1917 without really doing anything. A little bit of shuffling of troops, a little bit of really annoying stuff where, like, you know, a new 4-4 unit comes in and a 4-4 is withdrawn on the same turn, crap like that, which, you know, is just this attempt to keep all the proper designations that were shifted around during this time in place. That's just an annoyance as far as I'm concerned. One thing that was annoying more than that was a 3-4 unit for the Germans that had to be withdrawn. I had to basically start looking. Well, there probably aren't many 3-4s. I don't know if there are any. Chances are it was supposed to be a reduced 4-4, so that's what I guessed and pulled out. I don't know if there even are 3-4s for the Germans. But, there's no way of specifying that. So games that, from back in the 70s and 80s that used this kind of mechanism of pull things out, put things in, pull things out, all used to kind of tell you, hey, it's this unit reduced or something like that. There's no such indication like that in these charts. Again, really, really user-unfriendly rule book and most importantly, the OOBs and reinforcement charts. Anyway, we'll push into April. Bloody April. And as we enter April, and I remember to roll the gas warfare, which I forgot to roll last month, of course. Once you get into habits with the game, it's really hard to break them. Anyway, I'm sure they would have failed anyway. Real problems with the charts. I don't know if it's something I've screwed up previously or not, but among other things, units that I've got all of them on the board, all the 6-5s on the board. Maybe something was withdrawn. Maybe something was withdrawn as a 4-5, and maybe there are 4-5s or whatever that could be withdrawn. Was supposed to be there, but I don't have enough 6-5s to cover everything. And I don't have the Marines withdrawn, which apparently probably should have been at some point. No way I can easily look back and see where I may have screwed up or whatever. And there's so much juggling back and forth as to, in, out, that you're bound to screw up things like that. Therefore, again, if you're me, you're much better off without all this attention to the details of which units specifically were where, when. That's just too much to handle. And I'm just going to try to fudge it and forget about it. And, whatever decision I make, I'm sure is inaccurate, but I'm not convinced that these are accurate, to tell you the truth. I'm not convinced that there's not screw-ups in them. I know how easy it is to put a typo into something that nobody ever catches. I've detected what appear to be typos in it or mistakes. Therefore, all this effort to get things absolutely correct is, an end result of not really worth it. And in my case, making the game too miserable to really fully enjoy. All right. So anyway, we've got new German units coming in. In some cases, again, units of the same strength being pulled out and pulled in. But one big thing did happen. We had the German national will shaken. And I think, interesting things are going to happen. And they do. Not as much as I thought was, though. The number of replacements that the Germans are getting is reduced. They lose a few replacements each month. And that's going to be telling, because the Germans are actually having trouble. You can see they already still have a unit that they haven't rebuilt. They've got units on the line that are damaged that they haven't been able to fully rebuild. The French have tons and tons of replacements all over the place. They're going to be fine when this hits, if this is all that happens to them. It's hard to trace down all the different little clauses there because there is no easy way to present them in this game. It's not that hard. It's all in text, and it's split up into different segments. So, I just stopped worrying. I stopped caring. I guess that's one factor in favor of the Germans. I don't know how those assault troops are going to work. We'll see how that works out when we hit them. And, we'll see where we get. But that is a major milepost. I thought the French were going to pass it first. They would have if there had been a bloody turn last turn. They're at 1,460, but the Germans made their 3,000, which is their limit here. Still got some entrenchments to fix because with all the dislocation that happened back in February, March was the turn when people were digging back in. The French could have taken advantage of that and tried to make an attack, but it turns out the hexes where there were potentials for attacking just weren't pleasant, and the British were still too low on supplies to really... Both the British and French were really too low on supplies to convince themselves that they could do a sustained assault, that they'd be better off facing trenches and starting a hit off in a weak salient and try the breakthrough from that again once they get pumped up to something somewhat decent. And with the beginning of April, British supply begins increasing. They're getting 30 per month now. They don't have any real compulsion to attack at this point, right at this moment. French are gathering up forces. Basically, the French don't want to break over that economic issue. So they're looking at what? So we have to look at all these. Their supply points go down after shaken, at which point they'll only be getting 30. Unlike the Germans, their actual supply starts getting cut. How about their replacements? And again, we look through, yeah, their replacements are going to go down too. So I don't want to tax the French at this point. Not until I have to. Not until my supply points hit my limit, whatever that is, which I also have to go look up to see, because all these things change, right? So the French limits change in 1918, so they're still 150 right now. So the French are going to be forced to attack fairly soon. At this point, they're at 110 approximately, a little under that. They get 40 more next month. That means sometime in May, I think we're going to see this grand offensive. And that fits in well with the English replacements. They're probably... they've got a small stack that they can fill out May with, but right now they're pretty much up to full strength. They got one more decent size unit to build. I'm looking at early to mid-May being the first real offensive. The Germans don't want to launch one. They're waiting on their assault troops. Their assault troops can be potent. That could be the key that takes them Paris. I believe the Paris fortress that's facing them is actually kind of weak right now. They've got a chance of taking it. If they can do half damage with the first assault against that force, they can win it all at once. Of course, they'd like to soften it up some more with some artillery dueling. We'll see. And April quickly passes into May. I think we're going to see some action here, but I'm going to keep it all on one video. Okay, as May starts, the Germans line up their artillery and start bombarding Paris. It's a great way to burn supply points. Not that that's the Germans terribly need to do, but they got rid of the fortress here in the northern hex of Paris. They also killed an artillery unit, and now it gets uglier, because now they could shift to these two hexes to bombard this space in Paris. The payoff there is less. Here they were attacking with 30 strength points up against, remember it's halved because of the urban center, against 12 French. They took some of their own casualties, but they managed to cause some demoralization hits on the French, and that's a good thing. I have to think whether I have another one in mind, but with all the effort to reposition the artillery, I kind of feel like I have to start bombarding more forts. Well, the French fill in the spot here where the Germans started bombarding on that side. It's about time for the assault to begin. I don't want to do that tonight. But yeah, I think I'm going to try to coordinate a British as well as a French assault. The French assault, I think, is over in the Metz salient. Kind of moved some stuff there, but not tried to push so much that I'm devoted to that attack. If the Germans slide across to defend that, there are other places I could hit. It's just my tanks are there, which speeds things up. Yeah, there are French tanks now too. The English, it's almost guaranteed going to be one of these triple hexes or triply surrounded hexes. This one's pretty weak looking right now, but I don't know where it's going to fall. It's going to be a matter of opportunity. Well, the English had supplies this turn, enough for their entire assault, which was made over here on this hex. And you can see it's successful. They threw a tank in, they didn't need it. They had 195 strength points. Does that make sense even? 42 times 3 plus 21 times 3, essentially. Yeah, plus the tank. Now, they lost a couple of points because of the They actually tried to throw both tanks in. Both took damage coming into the hex. But they also used a French artillery instead of English, so there was a strength point off there. Whatever. Anyway, 195 strength points hitting that hex. 28 points of damage. Now, that got reduced down to only 19, so some Germans actually got out of there alive. This was not a weak hex. The Brits just threw everything into one hex and broke it. And they did not, they picked the weakest link they could, but the weak link was 22. And the Germans came back and hit something like 9. The Brits are not completely spent. With them getting 30 a turn now, a month, they've got a reasonable stockpile of supplies that they can actually try to follow this up a little bit. This is going to cause the Germans to rush around and try to do stuff, maybe try to dislodge that, although that hex isn't terribly important. The line behind is just as good. So trying to save the ground the way they did in the prior attack, which was on this hex, is less important to them. It's more important for them to just try to hold what they've got still. But that even may be hard. The Brits are going to have one more attack, although not at full strength like this last one was. But they've been doing these attacks and getting good results without supplying the infantry. Well, now that they actually can, bang, they hit hard. The French don't want to hit. They're too close to their economic, politically shaken or whatever it is. They're at, 1480 or 1470. They do a big assault a couple of rounds, or they get subjected to one, and they're going to be pushed over the edge. So they're being a little cautious. They're going to have to do one this month, but they're holding off on it. Anyway, we'll see what the Germans can do to react to this. Wow. The English spent the rest of their supply taking this hex, which they had surrounded in the sense of they had negated its trenches already. Basically, they pushed into this hex with a mobile assault and then had still enough supplies to mostly fund an attack on this hex. I think the Germans realized the English are out of supplies at this point. Whether or not they can, or even wish, to attack back to make some sort of counterattack for ground is really questionable. The ground over here is somewhat decent, but so is where the Germans are sitting. The only place where they're really weak is up here. They don't really want to take this clear hex here. That doesn't help them terribly. There's a reason the British were left there. It's easy enough to grab. They're being pushed back fairly inexorably, and there's not a lot they want to do about it. They don't really want to waste their own bloodshed against the English, because it's the French who are the more vulnerable. It's the French who've taken the losses so far. But now the weight of the war and the motion for the Allies is on the British because they haven't, and they're in good shape overall. Anyway, gaining 2 big hexes, pushing the line closer and closer to the Somme, really threatening this whole bulge here in a sense. We'll see how it all winds out. The French, on the other hand, are still kind of having cold feet. They shifted their forces and said, I don't have enough to attack. But now they're in a position where they're kind of telegraphing their move. The Germans can react to it. But the Germans also have to react to the breaches the English are putting on them. I wanted to point something out because I had forgotten up till now in this year. We're using a different combat chart now. Now, like I said, I had forgotten. This is the first battle I used it for, or the first series of battles, 2 rolls. This one's a little bit more damaging. So it's even easier to budge the enemy. So you got your tanks, you got your infiltration troops coming. You've got this improved combat chart that makes it easier to strike more damage. That goes for both sides, but that means it's easier to gain ground. That changes the nature of the war somewhat. We were already seeing the nature of the war changing before this, but the added casualty ratios make it even more poignant. Things are coming fast and furious at this point in the game, and it's kind of hard for me to recall what happens over on one sector of the front when something exciting happens on the other. The Germans just did some repositioning. Nothing exciting there. The French, I gotta move this somewhere. Doesn't really matter where. I don't have anything to recuperate at this point yet. The French are just kind of gathering and stockpiling men until when they flush over the limit there. But the Brits ended up launching first a regular assault here on this hex, which is a headquarters. Had they overrun that, they would have killed the replacement points there. The headquarters itself, it would have been a bad scene. Actually, the replacements might be able to withdraw, but it would have been a bad situation. They don't help defend. They also launched, I believe, an attack on this hex and gained it. Let's see what we got back here. It looks like part of the line. Looks like they gained that. I'm not absolutely certain what happened here, but I know that I had a pretty big attack, and it looks like they pulled out of there, but maybe they just attacked this hex with the three attacks. I'm not. Damn, maybe I didn't even attack yet. Yeah, I don't think I've launched the attack. Crap. Yeah, I set it up, but I haven't done it yet. The French, and I'll get to that in a moment, but the French launched, and I may back away from it. The French launched an assault on this hex, breaking the river, using their tanks again. Those things are potent. They've got a couple of tanks there. They were able to push in, and they're beginning to threaten Metz. If they can kind of pocket this area or get a lot of force in there, they can push the artillery in there and really start hurting the German fortifications. There's fortifications in both these hexes. Actually, I'm not sure if there are in Metz itself, but this whole salient is beginning to look weaker. It looks to me like the Allies are breaking the German line early, even, and probably because I didn't pull back to the Hindenburg line, right? Even without the Belgians in the war, essentially. So it's a kind of interesting situation. I'm going to go look into those Brits and see if I forgot them. Yeah, I had neglected to make that attack. It went well for the Germans, 9-14 Germans' favor, but we're grinding down a weaker German army. They're needing to push forces all over the place to defend themselves, over here, over into here to fill things in. It's as they begin to strip off from other areas, that'll create new weak spots. The Brits are so potent with their big units that attacking out of supply, as long as they have a significant quantity of hexes against the German hex, isn't really that horrible. Yes, they're taking more losses, but the Brits can afford to take losses for a while. Gotta see where the hell this withdrawal is coming in. That's on May. I just did May 5th. 6th of May. It's gonna show up on my. Ooh, I shouldn't move that quickly. I know what it does to the video. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, it looks to me like the German army is in real trouble right now. And I can't give up here. I can strip away from here. I can give up that salient. I think that decision has to be made, but I'm so damn stubborn. Coming to the conclusion, tanks are an essentially unstoppable force. If it weren't for the fact that they take the additional losses, the forced losses in combat, and they take the breakdown losses, they could just push wherever they like. The Brits advance into here using tank attacks, breaking the German line again. The French break the German line down here by pushing down into this salient instead. Remember, they made their attack here. They swung down, made a further attack. They can't really hit the hexes right near Metz. There's big fortifications there. Those are going to be bombardment tasks. They need to weaken the line there. They can't just grab it. I don't think they can just collapse this whole front down here either. This game doesn't work that way. It's World War I, not World War II. But gaining a hex is a big deal. And that's what we're seeing. And really, the German decision has to be, how long do I hold this segment out here with so many troops when I can trim my line a little bit by pulling back up to the river? Up to where I have my fortresses. How long? How long can I take the losses I'm taking? Because the Brits will slowly march their way through Flanders if I'm not careful. Can I stop them? I don't know. I don't know how to. I've got supplies. They don't against the Brits, but they can still hit. Tanks and all coming in. Down here, well, the French should be giving this up shortly. They really should. But as long as opportunities are arising, they may want to keep going. Their danger is they're just a little bit away, about one more attack away from driving themselves into economic trouble. But it may be worth it, depending on what they can gain from it. This is a very, very wealthy region with a lot of demoralization points for the Germans. The Germans have to defend that. We'll see. And the assaults continue with mixed results. The English launched another assault on this hex. Now, this is a trench here. It was fairly heavily defended. But close values, actually. They don't have the tanks in there. They can't push the Germans out easily, and they wouldn't have had enough had they been able to left. The losses ended up 8-14. That's not a good trade-off at all. I think the Brits have to give up. They're out of supply, obviously. But they also just can't afford to keep trading. There aren't any more hooks here that they can slam into easily. They're using French artillery to support their attacks cutting through here. There might be some iffiness about how that allowable that is to have two artillery not next to each other. I could have moved that one there, though, or even to the other hex without any effect. The French, however, did continue their advance. They're also considering slowing down, though. Their units are getting trashed in this fight. Not destroyed, just ripped apart. And their line is getting weakened in here to the extent that a German counterattack to cut them apart isn't that far from a reasonable choice. I've been kind of not making those attacks because the Germans don't want to take losses. Here's the other thing. The French current situation, I missed the demoralization level. They're now at 1,495. If they make another assault, they go over. It might behoove them to let the Germans entrench here, to let them go a little further. The problem is the Germans are due to get a huge amount of reinforcements. Now, these are mainly upgrades, but that's a lot of extra strength on the field. That's going to make it tough to attack, and the French have to be ready because the Germans definitely are going to hit when those come in if this line isn't in good shape by then. If the French are continuing an attack, the German assault troops are going to come slamming in. Anyhow, that is the end of May. And as we see, it was a pretty exciting turn like February was. I'm going to load this one up as we move into the summertime. Yay!
All right. That was not too bad. I'm pretty happy that we actually got to do a bloody Calandale thing. We haven't done one in so freaking long, man. It's that was nice. Oh, hold on. I'll remove that. I don't have to get that done either. I guess that's it, guys. I don't really not much else to tell you about. I'll just say for me for the week ahead. I will say at the very end here because I don't know what if you guys are reading the commentaries. The last little bit just between Charles Latora and William Arends, they're just talking about. William Arends is mentioning about that his mother and his father, who emigrated from Germany in 1913, and just a lot about people's perceptions and I guess thoughts about what did occur and how that affects us and things later on. I guess I'm just babbling on too much here. Anyways, please let me know what you guys are up to this week. If you want to, I'll let you know what I'm up to. Like I said, I'll try to work a little bit with the slides to see if I can get a little bit better of a flow for them. Obviously, want to finish off the Cameroons chapter all but Mora, and then I guess we're going to be off to South Africa, so that'll be kind of neat. 300 more pages in that book. It just blows me away that I was mentioning a few weeks ago about like the chapters are so small, and here I am, taking forever. Charles Latora says, my mom's dad's family was from Bohemia. Not sure when they came to the U.S. Ooh, cool. Yeah, so that's it. I'm just going to be doing whatever the stuff I want to. There's just the Ottoman stuff. I guess this is what people have been talking about, Chrome and so on and so forth, about trying to like put in extra tidbits, like specifics for certain situations or whatever. There's just so many special considerations to be done for the Ottomans. So it's going to take me a long time to figure that. And even to the point, I don't even know if my plans for doing this big, huge operation in Palestine and whatnot, I don't know if the climate, the landscape or any of that is at that point in time, like, back in 1914, 15 and so on and so forth. I don't know if that's technologically and everything, experience-wise, if it's realistic, like if it's practical or practicable to being even able to do some kind of giant operation that way. It'll be neat to find out. On a side note, Charles Latora, I did see I was thinking about you this morning. I got a recommendation. I'm not sure. I think it was, I'm not sure what channel, but I'll send it off in one of your, I'll put it in a comment in one of your video posts. I thought, oh, you would be probably interested in this. And it was about why Rommel ended up losing the Desert War or something back in World War II. As you know, I know very little about that type of stuff, but you do. And I thought maybe you'd be interested in finding out about that. That's about it, guys. Hope you guys are doing, hope you have a great week. I do want to, I'm going to put it on, if you guys could put a comment somewhere, anywhere that to let me know about any live streams that you are aware of, that so that way I can pass them on to other people, so that way they'll know. And I'd like to at least have them set somewhere on a side. I can put them in a community post or whatever. But I'd like other people to know about all the live streams that are out there. I mean, we know I know a few, but I know, for example, like Meandering Mike will know way more than I will, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's about that's it, really. Okay, I'll let you guys go. I'm going to, William Mayer says, my grandfather emigrated from Germany in 1913. My mom, his daughter, was born in the USA in 1928. Her attitudes had evolved by the time of Heather last year. It's, I think as a few of you guys know, I get to interact with Bridget, and she's from Stettin, Germany, which is now part of Poland. And I get to talk about, chit chat about her whenever I see her, when I'm going back and forth from the shops and she's going for her walks. And her attitude, like you can see, like she's like, oh, like keeping an eye on how the Polish people are doing with her town, kind of thing, and so on and so forth. William Aaron said, I guess Heather, she died last year. Your sister, is that it? My mom, his daughter, was born in the USA. Her attitudes evolved last time. I'm not clicking into the comments properly here. Her death, not Heather. Okay, thank you, William Arends. And it's just amazing, like that. For example, Bridget's got a very different perception of that, of what goes on. And when I went on and took a look at later on about Stettin, and then saw people's comments about someone was mentioning like, oh, maybe they should give it back to Germany. And someone wrote back in the comments saying, what? Are you kidding me? Like, this has been like, we've now 2 generations or something of people, of Poles living in Stettin, and it's a Polish city, that type of stuff. And, what do you want? We're part of the EU and everything anyway. So who cares? You can just zip zap, that type of stuff. So I thought that was kind of neat. And just, okay, I'm just going to end up babbling for no apparent reason. Yep, so that's it. I'll let you go. So please let me know about other live streams that you know of. So I'd like to link them up for other people so they can find out. And there's also for myself too. Like for example, I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to bang on and on and on about it. The Hissy Cat Studio podcast from the postcard I can't do the title properly. Postcards from the podcast post. Anyways, it's about game design. That to me at the moment, and of course, I know I'm extremely naive, very, very narrow of what's going on in the grand universe of YouTube and so on and so forth. But at this moment in time, for me, that has got to be the most valuable piece of YouTube videoing I watch each week right now. Postcards from the Front podcast. Thank you, Meandering Mike. Like when I was watching it or listening to it last, just on Thursday, all I got to say, I'm just, it's just incredible to just listen in. I'm just so, it's just the amount of information I'm getting. It's just so, it's remarkable, and I can't believe it's free. I'll be honest with you. Don't tell Hissy Cat that or whatever. But I mean, if I would pay. Honestly, I'm not kidding you. If somebody said, it's going to cost you $10 a month to be, access this stream each week. Meandering Mike says I jumped on at the very end this week. Yeah. Usually, I'll be honest with you, Meandering Mike. For that one in particular, I try not to say a thing. I'm just, I'm not saying I feel out of my depth, but I just feel like it's better for me personally to just listen and not say bloody. You on the other hand, you're on another whatever. But for me, I'm just like everybody there. I'm just like, it's just wow. Like I said, I can't believe this is free. It's just shocking. Even if you're not into game design or whatever, it's just you're getting the whole innards of of how people and it's just the beginning. He's only done 5 episodes so far or 6. Like, goodness gracious me. Amazing. And and then like I said, like I wish I was, and I know you, a lot of you guys are. I see you often, William Arends and so on and so forth on the Eric's Table live stream stuff. Yet again, I don't like to say much on that type of stuff. I just like listen, or I'm a lurker, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's just the amount of amazing material available for us. And I don't know how long this has been going on YouTube wise and live stream wise or whatever. Maybe this has just like been in the past 3 years or something. But I'm like, holy cow! If this is just the start of it, I don't know about you guys. Sometimes I always feel like what's been going on. Like I said, I don't know. This could have been going on for years and years. I just jumped on here, kind of thing, about a year ago. But must feel like, from what you hear about, like in the 1950s of like the beginning of TV and whatnot, and it was lots of things were experimental and everything was all over the place. And it's like, just learn and find out and try things, and some things won't work and some things will, and whatever. And beg, borrow, and steal. Look at other completely unrelated focus channels that are focused on other things. For example, I love going to church websites, not because I'm into that stuff, but you want to learn about how to find out about the cheapest live streaming technology and so on and so forth, and how to get into the point, zoom, and can stuff and all that stuff. Go on to church websites. Holy smokes, do those people know what they're talking about? Meandering Mike says the pandemic helped more live streaming technology and software forward. Yeah, that makes total sense. My goodness. So that's it, guys. Thank you so flipping much. Yeah, I'm going to go off and do my whatever. I'm more. I got to read up on the Ottoman thing. Is just, I know it's hard too. I don't know about you guys, but there's a big chunk of me. It's like I want to get into the meal right now, and it's like, no, you haven't even collected all the ingredients yet to even start cooking. You haven't even got the potato peeler out yet, for goodness sakes. That type of stuff. But I just I want to start seeing troops move up and down Palestine. I want to see the Brits lock horns with the Ottomans and, start dealing with all kinds of crazy logistical issues and supply depots here, there, and everywhere. And it's like, it's there. It's just not there yet. I mean, it's the way it goes. But and I also I want to do this nicely, properly kind of thing. And it's slowly, surely. On a side note, before I leave, it's ironic. William Arends is looking good, Chris. Thank you, William Arends. On a side note, I thought it was someone, a new person posted, said, oh, this game looks interesting. Or said something like, this game looks like it would take days to play. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, well, I did respond properly. I said, well, I'm not normal for this type of whatever. So most people would have finished this off in a long weekend or within a week. But I'm like, Lord have mercy, mine's going to be going on for quite a few years. Like I said, I remember mentioning this in a counter clipping show or on Dan Pancaldi's Tuesday show, everything you ever wanted to know about wargaming. We're afraid to ask, but it's not called that anymore, and it's not on that night anymore. I remember calculating based on how long it was taking me. Remember, I've slowed down since then, and I calculated it would take me a little over 12 years to finish off Der Weltkrieg if I'd started from beginning to end to do the full year. I was like, oh my F. So there we go. Thank you, people. Great to see you guys again, and I'll see you in some way, shape, or form on the other things when I say hello to you in comments and so on and so forth, and get to love your content as well, either through comments or your videos or whatever. Thank you so much. I'll see you later, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.